Hi, it's True Love Story, and today I'm going to be sketching or drawing one of my Christmas pictures. This entire month of December, I've been doing drawings every day for 25 days, and I am about, I believe, on the 20th. This one will be going up on that day, and I'm just going to do a quick video and show you how I draw it. So first, I'm going to start out with just a rough sketch. Body. Yeah. So, first we're going to start with this, like, randomized system I do for all of the basic sketch. So I know what the character's doing, where they're looking, where their arms are positioned, what goes where. After I do this, which I believe it's about done, I'm just going to stretch it out so it looks a little bit bigger. I change the opacity just like a little bit, make it a little lighter, and then I add another layer and do the actual like full sketch over it. Always with any of my drawings, I always start with eyes first because I think they're the most important, because with the eyes you can do basically everything. It's the eyes are what tells you how the character's feeling, where they're looking. It kind of is the main anchor of the piece. So after I do that, I'm just gonna have them looking kind of to the side, but in like a more forward position. After that, I do the nose, and I'm just gonna keep going with just sketching it up. So if I stop talking, forgive me. Eyebrows. I'm just going to do a somewhat generic expression because I'm just going to sketch it up to where there's not really a story behind it. It's just going to have a character, so it doesn't have to have a big expression on their face or have a story to tell of what's going on. I'm thickening up the top of the eye because I want to add a little more eyelashes into it. If I don't thicken it up, it looks kind of more like a tomboy or boy, so I'm just going to thicken them up a little bit. And let's see. So I'm just going to do more of a winter picture, which obviously for Christmas, so it's going to look like she's really bundled up. Sorry. And I think I'm going to go with really long wavy hair, just to like step away from the average of characters I've been doing lately, which have really short hair. I always try to stick to the guidelines, but sometimes I go a little off of them. Like you can tell with the jaw right here. I'm doing it a little longer because her mouth was lower than I expected it to be, so I have to compensate for that. And every single picture I've done so far has to have a Santa hat, so I have to add that in there. This is kind of a big Santa hat though. I might make it a little bit smaller. The rough sketch is like obviously kind of a mess, and half the time I can't tell what the lines are there for, so I have to like really pay attention to what I'm doing. And I think we'll do a fur coat, or not fur coat, but just fur hood. I like those kind of jackets. Make her look really warm, adding a scarf in there. And then just zipping up the jacket, or bundling her up. Okay, now that the basic sketch is done, lighten that a little bit, lighten this one even more, and then change the color, and keep going. I need to make my pen just a little smaller. Okay, so I'm just sketching or doing the like basics of the eye and everything. Trying to play around with whether I want to do long eyelashes or short eyelashes or where the lines are all gonna go. So you can tell I'm really thinking because I'm having trouble saying anything. Try to give her kind of big eyes to make her look a little bit younger because the sketch looked a little bit older than I really wanted. And I've kind of somehow shifted it to where she's looking a little bit more forward. But yeah, I'm just gonna stick with it because I like how it looks. Nope. Okay, so it depending on what my characters do or what I want them to look like. I either put the eyeline a lot higher or a lot lower. It always depends because if you want a character that's a little bit if you put the eyeline a little higher, they look a little bit older as opposed to a little bit lower because it looks like their eyes just like more sunken in or their eyelids are a lot lower than they should be, therefore making them look a little bit older. So I'm just gonna go with that. Even though I said I wanted her to look younger, I did that to compensate for the sunken in more eye look. I'm just gonna darken these up because I'm gonna give her thicker eyebrows. I've done faces a lot ever since I was little, so I can kind of guess on where everything, how far apart the eyes need to be, how far away the eyebrows need to be, where the nose needs to be, because I've practiced it so much. I'm not perfect, but I've been able to do it enough times to where I don't have to do full lines to tell me where everything goes. Because I didn't start out with lines, so I've just trained myself to know this goes here and that goes there. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a couple bottom lashes. I always do little lines under the eyes. I don't know, it just gives it a little bit more character to me. And I'm just gonna start wisping in the hair because I don't have a general idea how it's gonna look. It's just gonna look like something. Isn't that always how it goes? You'd think I'd plan for these things, but I can never seem to. Here's just kind of how the hair is. So there's no order or reason I'm doing any of this, except for the fact that I want some of the pieces to kind of be away from the main part of it, like this piece right here is not touching, that's not touching, that's not touching. So it gives it a little bit more natural, not just, okay, she has two chunks. And I am going to do the jawline. This is like the hardest part, usually, for me, to keep the jawline nice, thin, and straight. Because with all the other lines, I usually do them really quick and really messy. but the jawline has to be a lot cleaner and more precise. I need to shave it down a little bit. Okay, that's better. Now let's add the scarf, because I don't want to forget that and then have to add it in later, which naturally I most likely would have. Just add a couple hair, because it'll just go into itself at that point. Thicken the lines a little bit in the shadowing areas to make it look a lot, to help with the, contrast and everything. Just like little itty bitty things that I pick up every now and then that I end up doing, but sometimes changing eventually. Because, like I've said, I can't keep the same art style for 5 minutes. And anybody that's looked at my page can tell that I change my style a lot. Okay, I'm just gonna loosely do like little lines to look more like fur. I'm not gonna like full out draw it because I like this kind of look of having it really light. And with the dark lines, it'll just make it look odd because it's gonna be white anyway. Okay, do a little bit more hair. Nope, I don't like that. Hang on. I'm thinning it out at the ends, but I want her to have really long hair. Because I don't draw very many characters like that lately. Nope. Okay, I think that might be good. Continue with the scarf and darken this part a little bit so it brings itself away from the hair a little bit. It separates it a little bit easier so I can tell what's what. Okay. Okay, now the jacket, I'm just going to leave it unzipped a little bit because I never zip up my jackets fully anyway, so I don't know people that do. Usually it's just unzipped a little bit. Giving her a little bit thicker shoulders than I would normally for her size because of the jacket being a little bit poofy. With poofier jackets, I usually do thicker lines as opposed to, like, over here, I would do, if it was a normal t-shirt, I'd do really thin ones like this, but it's like, okay, you need to do a little bit thicker because the fabric's a lot thicker. Naturally. But I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Okay. Darken it up right there. And right here. The line's a little thicker again. Okay, I'm going to cut the picture up right here so I don't have to draw that far past it. Okay, now let's do the hat and then we're done basically with the line work. My style is like a very messy, loose style, which sometimes I wonder if is even a good thing for me to do, or if I should try doing it a lot cleaner. But I've always liked the messy style a lot better, so I'm just gonna stick with it. Okay, so done with that. Zoom out. Get rid of the underlayers, and then I'm just gonna add a very light blue background to it so I can figure out, you know, the colors and just have a background. I don't really like that blue. Let's change it to, okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, now we're gonna do the coloring. I'm gonna start with the skin color. I'm gonna have it a little bit more pink. And I always do all my colors in different layers, so it's a lot easier to color. So I just do a big glob right there, pink it in, and then I just move on. For now. Eventually I'm going to shade it, and I'll get to that later. So I go from skin, face, hair, and then clothes in all the, just for the entire drawing. So I'm going to give her blue eyes. The rest of her is going to be a lot darker, so I want her lines to be lighter so they pop a little bit better. And let's do her, oops. If you've watched any of my speed paint videos, my lips always take the longest because I always fiddle with them the most. They're never quite right for some reason. Okay, wait, let's go back to the white layer. For the, yeah, do the hat. Nope, wrong color. I just try to keep the same color on the exact same layer, so it's easy. When you're shading one color, you know, okay, this is the same color, so it's on the same layer. Okay, and then her jacket's gonna be white too. So I'm gonna do that much. Try to keep it like how it was, just very kind of wispy and not so thick lines. There's always that one time when you don't quite get the lines all hooked together and then it just paint cans the entire layer. It happens a lot because I don't pay attention. Okay. There we go. And okay, now I'm gonna move on to the hair. I'm just gonna do the hair a one tone right now, and then I'm gonna play around with it later. So I'm just gonna do a let's do a purple. Just do a basic purple color, and then I'm gonna play around with the color later. We'll just stick with base coat purple. Whenever I'm drawing, I always need to go back and fix any little glitch that I saw, because if I don't right at that moment, I'm always going to forget where it was and then have to like spend a couple minutes or even almost, yeah, just a couple minutes actually trying to find it again, or I don't find it whatsoever until like way later when it's an even bigger problem. which it's a pain for me a little bit to color this way because I can't figure out any other way to color. See, like that just happened. And I obviously didn't connect it right here. It's a little bit of pain, but my lines don't touch all the time, so I can't just paint bucket it easily. I haven't found a better way to do it, so I just do it like this. It's kind of a little bit more time consuming, but not that much. Okay. So after I'm done coloring the hair, I'm going to do the jacket and the scarf, and then I'm going to start shading everything. Which that's when the picture really starts looking a little bit better, because right now it looks really cartoony. Once I start shading, I start to like it a lot more, because it just makes it pop a lot more, even though sometimes I go a little overboard with the little shading thing. Okay, so now we're going to just move to the jacket. I always make sure that the hair layer is on the very top, because I don't want the jacket color to ever go over the hair layer. I want the hair layer to stay how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to put this under the white one too, because I don't want to color over the white either. I'm just going to go over it like this. And down. Okay. Okay, so once I have that in, I need to go back and fix the hair, because it bled over some of the lines that I didn't notice when it was blue. When it's darker, I do. Okay, I think that's good. Now the scarf. I'm gonna go with a gray scarf because I want her hair and the Santa hat to pop the most. I'm just gonna let everything kind of fade out. Or not fade out, but I don't want anything drawing any more attention than the rest of it. Because I really want her hair to pop, and I really want the Santa hat to pop. So I'm gonna just do it in a classic crazy red, because that's usually what the color of those are. Like over exaggerated, just pure red. And that's not gonna, I need to go back and fix the white layer because this one's under it. It won't show through. I don't think I've done a narrated video of me drawing on the computer. I did one, my first video was me narrating, hand drawing, and that was like crazy long time ago. So I thought, why not do one more? Even though I kind of hate my voice recorded, it's just still something I have to do. Okay, so now everything's good. So I'm just gonna lock all the layers, or the colored layers at least, so I can shadow over all of them, and it won't go off what I already colored. So I'm gonna start with the skin, and I go in this direction first, which is a really more saturated version of the color I'm doing. I change brushes to this one, which is more, the other one's just like normal circle. This one has like a little bit of a texture to it, I guess, but not really. Okay, so now I'm just, and that's not the right layer. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm just gonna go like this. That's way too dark. I forgot to bring that down. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm just gonna do the sides because her hair would most likely cast a shadow. Her heck? No, I don't like how far that went up. Okay, there we go. Go over it one more time. Do her nose, and then her eyelids, and then a little bit of that one line that I did. Do that again, and the hat needs to cast a little bit of shadow too. Okay, after I do that, I go into a less saturated, more of a gray, and go over it. Because it gives it, I don't know, it just gives a different effect than doing an even more saturated, darker tone. Okay, so since I did that, I'm going to go to the next one, which is the jacket. Just darken that up too. Sometimes, because this brush and this picture is so big, my brush lags like a lot. And I don't know how to fix that other than just trying to go a lot slower than I would normally. So I first go, I change the opacity, so the first time I go over it, it's a little bit darker than the original color. The second time I go over it, it's even darker. And then after I go over it twice with the same color, I go over it again with a different darker color. And usually I only go over it like 3 times with 2 different colors. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to go with the hat. Just going to give it like a kind of a shine right there, so I'm just going to leave that how it is. Just go around it. Going over it twice, doing a darker color. And then basically being done, and then we're going to go to the scarf. I'm sorry if I'm over explaining everything. We suggest doing speed paints, so I don't have to explain what I'm doing, so I'm over explaining. Okay, so that's done. Now we're gonna do the white, which I always go, with the white I go much harsher variations, which the white would be right here, so I'm gonna go halfway down, and then I'm gonna go another, not halfway down, but I go a decent section down, and then I'm gonna go the exact same amount of distance, as opposed to normally just not letting it go that shy, because if you go that dark with an actual color, it's like really harsh, and I don't like that. But with white, it's not as harsh for some reason, and it works a lot better than doing it, because with white you need a little bit more of a definition. What is? I'm gonna go down here and do her eyes too. Okay, and then just do it in the darkest spot, which would be where her hair would be over it. Or where those would be. Okay, now go straight to the face. So I'm gonna do the eyes. I'm gonna do them a little bit more icier, so they kind of stand out a little bit more. Let's get a little bit closer. It's still showing up as much as I want it to. Hang on. There we go. I think that's gonna work. Okay, that works better. Doing a lighter color, and then we're gonna do a darker color. And a brighter color. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna try playing with the hair. Okay, so I'm gonna first take it and change it so I can work on the shading. I'm gonna play with the color after I'm done with the shading. So I'm gonna make the bottom of it a little bit darker. Actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's make the top a little bit darker. Okay, once I play with the shading of this, I will do the color. I'm pretty sure I already said that. Okay, just do the tips. Okay. Now I want to play with the color a little bit, so I'm just going to duplicate this layer. And then I'm going to paint over it just one tone. Yeah. Just paint over it in one tone. Yeah. I probably should have duplicated it before I shadowed it, but this was a afterthought. Okay, now that I've changed it to one color, I'm gonna make it I'm gonna do overlay, I guess. So it got brighter. So now I'm gonna put other colors into it. I'm gonna go with a blue. Just gonna bring the opacity down again. Make the brush a little bit bigger, because it's gonna do a little bit of chunks. And there's my brush freezing up again. It's going to slowly go from a purple all the way to a blue. So I'm just going to keep making the blue darker and darker. I'm just going to go down the palette wheel and eventually might even go into like green. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go all the way to green. Again. Darker. I almost wish I had hair like this. But obviously I can't because my hair is so short. Yeah, it looks nice. I'm just going to darken that so it looks a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to lower the opacity even more and make the brush a little bit smaller to make a little more shading and shadow in certain areas without it being crazy harsh. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, now I'm going to add another layer. Grab the first purple and do it a lot lighter and then just put in like a little highlight so it looks really nice. And then I do highlight in the middle. If she didn't have a hat on, I do it on top. But then once it's in the middle, I do it everywhere that it looks like the hair is like really bunched or really big. And then since it goes in right here, the sun or light would be hitting here, and then it'd be hitting here too. Okay, so after that, I am going to do one more thing. I'm going to make this a little bit lighter in spots because it's a fabric that would kind of shine a little bit. Not shine, but you know what I mean. It's that poofier fabric. Okay, now, after I'm done with that, I go straight to white and change the brush back to what it was. A bit thick, and then all the way opacity. And then I do lines, and then I do big dots in here. Those are a little bit too close. There we go. Okay, and then one on her lip, and then a little bit right here too. Not too thick on the bottom, like right here it can be really thick, but I always try to break it up a little bit less because I don't want it to be in your face. And let's see. After that, I'm gonna go back to her face because I forgot one important thing. As my favorite drawing YouTuber says, I forgot the blushies, which I always put. Especially in the cold, her face would be very pink. In the cheeks and in the nose. I just put that to multiple because then it shows the shaded behind it. And add it to her eyes too to make them pop a little bit more too. And then I just bring the opacity down a little bit. And then if I want it even thicker or darker on her cheeks, I go over it again in a different layer. And then multiples again. And then just not do as much opacity, or not bring it down as much as I did the first time. Okay, so I'm actually gonna change the background back to white, and I'm gonna do another layer over the very top and do a little bit of highlight to make it look like it's really bright and cold outside. Just like make everything look a lot lighter. Okay. Make that a little bit lighter because it would go off onto the other stuff. And I'm gonna keep those. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm about done. I'm just doing little things here and there that I think need a little bit more stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna just put up another layer, make it purple, darker purple, and I'm gonna paint can over the whole thing. And then I'm gonna do a screen, or do I want to do light? Let's do light, and then just bring the opacity down, and it just lightens the picture a little bit because sometimes I like that look, or it makes it a lot more brighter. And sometimes I just play with all of these different settings to see which one I like the best, which is what I am doing right now. I think I like screen the best. Just lighten that up a little bit. And then I need to just do one more thing, which is wrong color again. Sign. Whoops, bring it down a little bit so it's not so huge. And then right with, let's go with purple, I guess. Nope, wrong number. I'm so used to drawing teens that I forgot it's 20. Separate that, I didn't want that connected to that layer. Just bring this down here. And I'm going to change it back to white because I don't like that it's sticking out so much. Okay, let's just cut it right where I said I was going to. Nope, not quite that far. There we go. Okay, so just like that. And usually, yeah, okay, there you go. Takes a couple seconds. Okay, that's like about it. That's how I go through all of my pictures. I go first sketch, then a second sketch, and then I do line work, first color, coat, shading, highlighting, and then sometimes I do a filter over it of a certain color to change the color scheme of the whole thing. So yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching.